The brass bell above the door chimed softly as I entered Harrison's Antiquities and Curiosities, for the first time as its owner. Dust motes danced in the morning sunlight streaming through the Victorian storefront windows, highlighting the maze of display cases, shelves, and carefully arranged furniture that had been my grandfather's life's work for over 50 years. My name is Rachel Chen, and this is the story of how I discovered that sometimes the greatest treasures are hidden in plain sight, if you just know where to look. I still can't believe Dad left you this place, my husband Tom's sister Jennifer said, wrinkling her nose as she followed me inside. She picked up a jade figurine, then quickly set it down when dust coated her manicured fingers. I mean, you're not even blood family. I bit back a sharp response, remembering Grandpa Harrison's constant reminder that patience was the most valuable trait an antiquarian could possess. Gerald, Grandpa, taught me everything about this business over the last 8 years, I said instead, moving behind the ancient mahogany counter. He said I was the only one who truly understood his vision. Vision? Jennifer scoffed. It's a bunch of old junk. Mom's right. You should sell it quickly before the property taxes eat up whatever savings the old man had left. The old man she so casually dismissed had been more of a father to me than my own. While my in-laws saw me as the Chinese-American girl who'd married into their family, Gerald Harrison had seen a kindred spirit. I'd been working part-time at a museum when Tom first brought me to Sunday dinner, and Gerald and I had spent hours discussing art history and restoration techniques while the rest of the family watched football. The place needs someone who understands preservation, he told me one quiet afternoon as he taught me how to properly clean an 18th century brass compass. Someone who sees the story behind each piece, not just its price tag. Now, standing in the quiet shop 3 weeks after his funeral, I could feel those stories waiting to be told. My fingers traced the leather-bound ledger on the counter, Gerald's inventory, meticulously maintained in his elegant handwriting. Well, don't expect Tom to waste his architect's salary keeping this place afloat, Jennifer continued, checking her phone. God, there's barely any signal in here. Probably all these metal things interfering. Those metal things included what I strongly suspected was a Ming Dynasty bronze vessel, but I kept that observation to myself. Gerald had taught me another valuable lesson. Never reveal the true value of something to those who wouldn't appreciate it. I'll manage, I said simply, opening the ledger. The shop has been profitable for 50 years. Jennifer's laugh was sharp. Please. I did Dad's taxes for him once. This place barely broke even. I thought about the separate set of books Gerald had shown me last year, the ones that documented his real transactions. Museum acquisitions, private collector sales, international auctions. But again, I held my tongue. Rachel. Tom's voice called from the back room. You might want to see this. I found my husband standing in Gerald's office, holding a sealed envelope. It was in his desk, marked for Rachel, opened 3 weeks after. Today marked exactly 3 weeks since the funeral. My hands trembled slightly as I opened the envelope, Gerald's familiar scent of pipe tobacco and leather binding still clinging to the paper. My dearest Rachel, the letter began. If you're reading this, then the timing is finally right. There's something you need to know about the shop, something I've kept secret from everyone, even you. Oh God, please don't let it be debt, Jennifer interrupted, having followed us into the office. Mom will have a fit if he left you a money pit. I continued reading silently, my eyes widening. The collection you see in the shop is only the surface, Gerald's letter explained. The real treasure is hidden in plain sight, cataloged in a way only a true antiquarian would understand. You've been studying my methods for years. You know how I organize things. Use that knowledge. Start with the Ming vessel. Remember what I taught you about imperial marks. My mind raced. Gerald had spent hours teaching me about Chinese imperial reign marks, how to distinguish genuine marks from later copies. The vessel in the front window had what appeared to be a Xuandi mark, but everything okay? Tom asked, noting my expression. Fine, I said quickly, folding the letter. Just some instructions about inventory management. Jennifer rolled her eyes. Thrilling. Well, I'm meeting Mom for lunch. Don't forget the family dinner tonight, though I'm sure Mom would understand if you're too busy playing with your new junk shop. After they left, I went straight to the Ming vessel. Carefully, I turned it over. examining the rain mark under proper light. There, almost invisible unless you knew what to look for, was a tiny additional character that changed everything. My hands shaking, I pulled out my phone and dialed a number Gerald had made me memorize years ago. Dr. Liu's office, Chinese Antiquities Department, Smithsonian Institution. "Hello," I said, keeping my voice steady. "My name is Rachel Chen. I've inherited Gerald Harrison's shop, and I need to speak with Dr. Liu about a Zawanda vessel with an extraordinary marking." There was a long pause. "Gerald Harrison?" Dr. Liu's voice came on the line, suddenly alert. "He mentioned you might be calling. Is it time?" "Yes," I replied, looking around the shop with new eyes. "I believe it is." "Don't move anything," Dr. Liu said quickly. "I'll be there tomorrow morning. And Ms. Chen, don't let anyone else examine the collection before I arrive." I hung up and sat behind Gerald's desk, my mind whirling. The main vessel alone, if I was right about its significance, was worth more than the entire shop's apparent inventory. And according to Gerald's letter, it was just the beginning. My phone buzzed. A text from my mother-in-law. "Dinner at 7. Bringing a real estate agent friend to discuss your options for that old shop." I smiled, thinking of Gerald's patient smile whenever the family dismissed his life's work. He taught me well, not just about antiques, but about the value of being underestimated. Tonight's dinner would be interesting indeed. But first, I had a collection to catalog and a grandfather's legacy to uncover. After all, the best treasures are often hidden in plain sight, waiting for the right person to recognize their true value. The Harrison family dining room felt more like a courtroom that evening. My mother-in-law, Elizabeth Harrison, sat at the head of the table like a judge ready to pass sentence, while her real estate agent friend, Marcus, flipped through property listings on his tablet. "The commercial zone there is really developing," Marcus was saying. "If we list the shop quickly, we could get a decent price before the market shifts." I took a sip of wine, thinking about what I'd discovered after that phone call with Dr. Liu. Following Gerald's hints in his letter, I'd spent the afternoon examining key pieces in the collection. Each revelation had been more stunning than the last. "Rachel, dear," Elizabeth's voice cut through my thoughts. "Are you listening? Marcus is trying to help you." "I appreciate the concern," I replied carefully, "but I'm not selling the shop." "Don't be stubborn," Jennifer chimed in. "You've seen the place, it's falling apart. The inventory is worthless." I thought about the worthless inventory I cataloged that afternoon. The main vessel was just the beginning. There was a set of Japanese Edo period scrolls hidden in plain sight among more common artworks. A collection of European miniatures that I strongly suspected had once belonged to a royal collection. And most incredibly, a series of ancient Chinese bronze mirrors that, if I was right, would rewrite several chapters of art history. Actually, I started, but Tom squeezed my hand under the table. We'd agreed to wait for Dr. Liu's confirmation before saying anything. "Rachel," Elizabeth leaned forward, her voice dripping with condescension. "I know you enjoy playing shop with Dad, but this is reality. The property taxes alone are paid through the next 5 years," I finished. Another detail I discovered in Gerald's papers. "That's impossible," Jennifer scoffed. "I did his taxes, remember? The shop barely made enough tow." The doorbell rang, interrupting her. Elizabeth frowned. The Harrisons never had unexpected dinner guests. "I took the liberty of inviting someone," I said, standing up. "I hope you don't mind." I opened the door to find Dr. Liu from the Smithsonian, who had apparently caught an earlier flight. She was a small woman with an air of quiet authority that made Elizabeth's attempts at dominance seem amateur. "Mrs. Chen," she nodded. "I hope I'm not too early. After a call, I felt this couldn't wait until morning." "Perfect timing," I smiled, leading her to the dining room. "Everyone, this is Dr. Margaret Liu, Chief Curator of Chinese Antiquities at the Smithsonian Institution." The silence was delicious. "The Smithsonian," Elizabeth managed. Dr. Liu sat down, accepting a glass of wine. "Yes. I've been working with Gerald Harrison for decades. In fact, several pieces in our Imperial Chinese collection came through his expertise." "Dad sold things to the Smithsonian?" Tom asked, surprised. "Sold, advised, authenticated," Dr. Liu nodded. "Gerald was one of our most trusted consultants. His eye for genuine artifacts was legendary in museum circles." Jennifer's face had gone pale. "But But the shop was a perfect cover. I finished. Think about it. What better way to discover genuine artifacts than to run a shop where people thought they were selling ordinary antiques? Dr. Liu pulled out a folder. Mrs. Chen, I've done a preliminary review based on the photos you sent this afternoon. If you're willing, the Smithsonian would like to make an immediate offer on several pieces, particularly the Exuand vessel and the bronze mirror collection. She wrote a number on a piece of paper and slid it across the table. Elizabeth's wine glass clattered against her plate when she saw it. That can't be right, she whispered. Oh, that's just for the initial acquisition, Dr. Liu said calmly. Once we've authenticated the entire collection. Well, Gerald always said his granddaughter-in-law would know what to do when the time came. I reached into my bag and pulled out Gerald's ledger, the real one, not the public version Jennifer had seen. Grandpa kept 2 sets of books, I explained. The public one showed a modest antique shop. This one. I opened it to the last page where Gerald had tallied his true inventory. This one shows his real collection. The total at the bottom made Marcus's tablet slip from his fingers. But why? Tom asked. Why keep it secret all these years? Because true collectors don't hunt for profit. I quoted Gerald's words from years of lessons. They hunt for history, for stories, for pieces that change our understanding of the past. Dr. Liu nodded approvingly. Gerald mentioned you were his true successor, not just in knowledge, but in spirit. Elizabeth seemed to have found her voice again. Now wait just a minute. If these things are so valuable, they should stay in the family. We should discuss. They are staying in the family, I interrupted firmly. With the family member, Gerald chose to continue his work. I pulled out the last document, Gerald's final letter to the family, which I found hidden behind his collection notes. Dear Elizabeth and children, I read. If you're hearing this, then Rachel has discovered the truth about my life's work. I know he never understood my passion for old things, never saw beyond the dusty shop front to the treasure trove within. But Rachel did. She saw what you couldn't, that every piece tells a story, that true value isn't just about money, but about heritage, about connecting us to our shared human history. The room was silent as I continued reading. I've spent 50 years building this collection, using the shop as both cover and hunting ground. Rachel will continue this work, partnering with institutions like the Smithsonian to ensure these pieces are studied, preserved, and shared with the world. She understands, as you never did, that we don't really own these treasures, we're merely their caretakers for future generations. Jennifer was staring at her plate. Elizabeth seemed to have aged 10 years in the last hour. Tom was looking at me with new understanding. As for the shop, I closed the letter. It stays exactly as it is. A place where ordinary people can connect with history, where new treasures might surface any day, where the past is preserved one piece at a time. Dr. Liu stood up. I should examine the pieces tonight, if you don't mind. The Smithsonian's board is very excited about the bronze mirrors in particular. As we prepared to leave for the shop, Elizabeth suddenly spoke up. All those Sunday afternoons when you and Dad would talk for hours about art history. He was teaching me, I said gently, not just about antiques, but about patience, about looking deeper than surface appearances, about understanding true value. Tom stood up. I'm coming with you. I want to see what my grandfather was really doing all those years. That night, as Dr. Liu carefully examined each piece, I watched my husband discover a new side of his grandfather. The dusty old shop transformed before his eyes into a museum-quality collection, each piece with its own fascinating history. I never knew, he whispered, watching Dr. Liu authenticate a Song Dynasty jade carving. All these years, I never really saw what was right in front of me. Most people don't, I replied, thinking of Gerald's patient smile. They see what they expect to see. Over the next few months, the truth about Gerald Harrison's collection made waves in the museum world. The Smithsonian exhibition, Hidden Treasures. The Gerald Harrison collection became their most successful showing that year. The shop remained open, its modest facade unchanged, but now Tom's family viewed it differently. They'd learned what Gerald had tried to teach them for years. That true value isn't always obvious, that sometimes the greatest treasures are the ones others overlook. As for me, I continued Gerald's work, using the shop as he had, a place to discover overlooked treasures, to preserve history, and to remind people that sometimes the most valuable things are hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone patient enough to recognize their worth. Elizabeth still comes to Sunday dinners, though now she asks questions about the shop, trying to understand what she missed all those years. Jennifer took an art history class at the local college, and Tom sits with me in the evenings as I catalog new acquisitions, learning to see the world through his grandfather's eyes. Gerald's portrait hangs in the shop now, his gentle smile watching over the controlled chaos of artifacts and antiques. Sometimes, when the evening sun hits it just right, I swear he winks at me, as if to say, "Patience, dear. The best treasures are worth waiting for." And he was right, of course. Some treasures are measured in dollars and cents, in museum acquisitions and academic papers. But the real treasure was what Gerald left behind. Not just a collection of priceless artifacts, but a lesson about looking deeper, about the value of being underestimated, and about the importance of preserving the past for future generations. In the end, that was worth more than all the Ming vessels in the world.